Good evening, ghouls and ghoulsettes. I am Oogie Boogie, that's the Great Pumpkin, and we are going to be doing a wonderful Halloween based comic book club with you.
Yeah, I hope these guys are excited because we haven't done a comic book club in a while. There, Noah. We did the pairing with the Star Wars stuff podcast last, and that was a couple months ago. So I'm pumped to get back into a comic book. And make no mistake, me and Noah have still been reading way too many comic books for our own good. Don't get it
Oh
twisted.
God, yes. And with the if you have listened to the Star Wars podcast, the book club we did with them, we learned new wonderful phrases.
Yeah, like muckwhackers. If you ever want to
Muckwhackers.
insult someone and not sure if it's actually offensive, just say muckwhacker, and then you're
See,
off to the races.
I wanted that to just be the name of our lovely fans, or just the
You want
Gotham
to be?
City
They could be the
Muckwhackers.
muck. I love it. Yeah, sure. You guys, write in if you approve of that nickname for yourselves, or would you prefer like Rogue Nation because that sounds a little cooler. But
If I don't,
muckwhackers definitely funnier.
yep,
Anyway,
I was gonna say, if I don't hear a no, you're
if I,
Muckwhackers.
if I don't hear a no, you guys are muckwhackers. So what we did today, we did Batman Haunted Night, which was released in 1996. This was a collection of one shots that predated the Long Halloween. I researched it a little bit. This is by Jeph Loeb, and the art was by Tim Sale. And the success of these one shots over a couple of years on Halloween are the reason we got the story, The Long Halloween. Now, Noah, I'm sure you probably feel the same way. The Long Halloween is the better story out of these collections, and then because it's a comprehensive piece that keeps a thorough storyline through it all. These are all one shots, but I can understand why they needed these to come first to really understand if the fans were kind of gonna go with it.
Yeah, it did open up this world of, like, when I think of the Long Halloween, I think of it in its own separate little Loeb universe.
Right.
And this helped flesh out our Bruce, our Scarecrow really well, to allowing for when we got to the point of the Long Halloween. We know this detective Batman. We know Jim Gordon. We understand his rogues gallery in a way that makes the mystery of the Long Halloween that much more intriguing. So I will say, as much as I didn't like them as, say, the Long Halloween or even Dark Victory, it is needed, and we needed this to really help flesh out what we get.
Yep, I agree. And yeah, we had a good time. I think this is one of our more fun ones. And it's the first thing off the bat. This was 90s art style. I've got about 40 pictures, but this is just an example of how Batman looked off the top. How do you feel about the evolution of comic book drawing and like what it feels like to kind of go backward here?
Here's the thing. I think, as much as I love, like, as you've heard, I love New 52. I'm one of the few people who love New 52. I love the art style. I really love with Jim Lee and what a lot of people have done
God,
in
Jim
terms
Lee's
of.
so talented.
So I've enjoyed New 52, but going backwards, the 90s had phenomenal choice in color and in art.
Yep.
Batman is very intimidating in this, and the one issue that I have is something that's really stupid, and it's how pointy his ears are. That's it. That is my only
Yep.
qualm.
Yep, and that was kind of the style for a while there. It definitely feels like it's kind of like the Todd McFarlane type artwork where things are
Mhm.
kind of extended. Oh yeah, shout out to the Batman Spawn crossover that's just happened. I ordered my own copy and I can't wait to read it. I'll even bring it up on a future podcast. But this old art style, you gotta respect it because the evolution of comic book art has gone to the point where it's mostly digital. Obviously, it's all people drawing with their hands, but they have their iPads. They can throw in textures. They can do shadows and things. This is like pen to paper, ink. They have obviously some assistance from technology, but a lot of it, like even if you look in the window panes of this artwork that I've got popped up right now, it shows this detail that I'm not sure it's kind of lost on some of the current artwork in
And
some comics.
I would say that it gives, and it's also, 90s, so it's giving Batman the animated series, where it's almost like the darkness is more of the artistic choice and light. And with the Batman '90s cartoon, everyone knows that it was like created on black cell sheets, and they had to do like reverse painting and stuff like
Right,
that.
yeah, that
So
was one of the that's why the first bit of I mean, they continued to do it, but especially the first episode of the animated series is so dark because it's all drawn on black paper, yeah. Fun facts there, and, I love that, and I even put it's got, like, a nostalgia, like, it left me feeling comforted. This next piece here, you can kind of see the old scarecrow style. I do appreciate the lightning in the back and the fact that rain is represented by just long black lines. It's kind of interesting how old artwork works like that, but it's cool. I don't care for the scarecrow design. I much prefer the Arkham version of Scarecrow,
yes.
or even the later seasons of Batman in the animated series where he looks kind of jacked and he's got a noose around his neck. Like I'm more partial to Scarecrow looking intimidating, but I can understand that all characters kind of go they waver back and forth. But this one was a bit weird, a lot closer to the first couple of seasons of the animated series. Would you agree?
Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean, I'm very akin to my love of the Arkham Scarecrow, but I understand why his original look, especially for him being kind of the center focus to what leads into Long Halloween, giving you that traditional fall villain. Like a
Right.
Scarecrow is very synonymous with fall, and fall is very synonymous with Halloween. So I feel like if we would have gotten like the hood or the gas mask or even the noose, it wouldn't have held as much of a Halloween, a spooky time as we get with the traditional scarecrow. But
Yeah,
I
and
agree that
this is 96. I mean, there are some comic books that are going a little crazy, but a lot like they play it a little more toward, like a PG or like a PG-13 if you want to go that type of rating where as opposed to if you read Black Label now, it's rated R, rated MA all day every day and I appreciate it. I loved this scene here where I if you guys are if you're only listening, go watch along on either Spotify or YouTube because it's really gonna enhance the whole episode. But just so you know, pictured here, it's Batman and Scarecrow kind of fighting. Batman's surrounded by the Scarecrow's gas. And he says, "This is a new triple dosed toxin, and you're going to be crying for your parents or something along those lines." And he just says, "Boo," to Batman. And then Batman says, "Shut up," and it's right here on the screen here. And there's those long ears that you're not a fan of. Just
yeah,
so
no,
long.
I'm not. But what I will give this panel is the scowl of Batman. Like even though you can't
Yep.
see a lot of his face due to the beautiful shadow work that is done, eh, they do a really good job of still allowing him to emote, even though you're not supposed to see a lot of his face. So I mean, the panel is hilarious. One of my favorite panels. I don't know if you got it. It's a bit later on. It's when we go into like the chapter two where it's like it starts off with the black version, the silhouetted version of Batman, and then the next panel is it in full color with the rain. I just love that.
Not
That
that one. I don't think. Well, if I do, we'll see it. I don't think I pulled that
yeah,
one, but
yeah.
I
It's
appreciate
around like
that.
page 33, but and it's right after like that weird giant crow picture.
Oh, I have the giant crow picture. There you go.
Yeah, it's legit the next one. Dude, this gives me manga vibes right now. This should be like the chapter of like
This kind
Junji
of does what you're
Ito type
talking
thing.
about. Not quite where you're looking for, but you can see
Right.
like the darkness in the bottom there, and the yeah. So we're not really critiquing this artwork. It's just like it's fun, it's exciting, it's nostalgic, and like I said, I found it comforting just going back into this '90s art style. I think I started actually reading comics in like 2004 or something like that. I read my first comic book, and that was after they'd already gone to digital. But I did eventually go kind of towards the backlogs, and it gives me the just comforting feeling like 1970s Batman, even where he had to wear the blue cape because of the stupid censorship and all that.
Here's the thing. So with this one, I want to get your uh viewpoint. So we haven't talked about it, but part one with fear, is Batman hunting down Scarecrow, trying to capture him, and then he gets doused with the fear toxin. and it's him almost dying and him going kind of through those trials. Were you getting complete like, for me, the reason I really enjoy part 1 and part 2 is because it felt like an Arkham game.
Yep,
It felt like the bits of Arkham of the Arkham
1000%.
games, and those are my favorite medium of Batman so far that I've ever,
Yep,
like,
I would agree with you.
been a
I've
part of.
put a disgusting amount of hours into each one of those games. It's sad. Oh yeah, no, if you guys, you probably already know because we're releasing this afterward, but we're going to be streaming the Gotham Knights game here soon, and it's going to be legendary. So stay tuned for that on Twitch
Yeah.
and YouTube.
I'm so ready for my big boy Jason.
Yeah, he's a
Guns
big boy.
akimbo.
I like
Big
the
boy.
style they went big boy brawler Jason, which isn't always how they have him. So I appreciated it.
Yeah.
Anyway, in reference to the actual story in the beginning here, Jim essentially kind of asks Batman to hang out. I thought that was really funny. He's like, "Hey, you want to go to a costume party?" And then immediately he's like, "I'm never doing that again." I was like, "That's hilarious." But then Bruce actually goes to his own Halloween party, runs into Jim. Apparently, Jim's wife is playing pool with Harrison Ford. I like that shout out. I was like, nice.
But it also like gives it a real fun date. Like, you always gotta love when like comics date themselves in a way that's like still nice, because Harrison Ford has been a big deal for years. You could have, if you went back in time and read it during like the 70s and they said Harrison Ford, you'd still be like, oh snap, Harrison Ford.
Right,
And then
yeah,
you read it now.
at least he remained timely. They could have made some ridiculous, ridiculous reference that no one understands. Like, hey, we got Cesar Romero. And it's like, yeah, it's pushing it. Only a couple people know who that is. I've made a couple Cesar Romero jokes recently because people
You
laugh at
have.
the Joker, and I'm glad you get it. But when I do it in my regular life, people are like, "What?" I was like, "Shut up, you're uncultured swine." No, not really. What Scarecrow is also a rhymey sing-songy villain.
That's you.
Tripped on the word there, but I don't like it. I think it's dumb. Why did they? This was such a popular thing in the 90s where they'd be like, "Ooh, let's have him do creepy childhood rhymes. That'll make the character seem creepier." And it's like, they do it better in horror movies, man. It's weird in comic books. I don't care
But
for
I
it.
think that's, here's the thing. I think that's where they were kind of going with, because I feel like Scarecrow, especially in this iteration, is trying to give Freddy Krueger vibes. And even a bit of Arkham really leans into a Freddy Krueger-esque type thing with the glove syringe,
Right.
and I feel like that's why they probably try to do it, but they tried to differentiate him
Yeah, but does
enough.
Freddy Krueger really sing his own song? It's more people singing about him than him doing it himself, you know?
True. No, I got you. But I mean, also, I think it was weird that they made him sing songy in this, because the next chapter is the Mad Hatter.
Yep,
This
who's
most sing
essentially
songy motherfucker.
the
Like,
same. Yep, they do exactly the I even put a note on it. I was like, "Okay, so we're just gonna do two the you seem like you ripped one off the other, and I know that's not true, so it's just annoying." So, yeah, we'll move on to part 2 here. You pointed out the creepy crow here. He's fun. But I did appreciate the Batman jack-o'-lantern that followed. I was like, "That's pretty cool." I almost made that our background, but I decided that Shadow Batman looked cooler.
see, if you and your wife do lanterns this year, this is the one you got to do.
Ooh, I really should. We already carved a pumpkin this year, though, so maybe next year. Next time. That's a good one, though. You're right. I should keep that in mind. Moving forward, though, we go into part 2. Like you said, it's Mad Hatter. I liked it. I like the Mad Hatter story. I'm gonna be honest. He gets this
Yeah,
weird
it was the
relationship
top
that,
one.
yeah, at the very beginning, he gets this relationship that just gets stupid serious so fast. I did not understand that at all. It was with this girl named Jillian, and I loved the sass of Alfred in this book. I would say. I even put one of his quotes. He said, "Oh, good show, sir. For a moment, I was afraid you'd had a rational thought." Like, oh, let's go. That's such a good line.
And I even like the when they're having tea, and Alfred's not like jealous, but they're having like the conversation. He's like, I get him back. Like, I just, you're right. Like, Alfred's sassiness is wonderful, and this and the other Batman that we read, his jump into relationships is
Oh my god,
really
it's so
like
not good. It's not healthy, Batman. You need to take care of yourself. Protect the heart. And he's all up on Selena's business in the recent iterations. And yeah, I can at least appreciate that. But anyway, yeah, they have a cool day. I screenshotted this just because I don't know, man. I'm a sucker for black and white, but then you have one thing in color. I don't know. I don't know why I love it so much, but I do. So deal with it. There's a cool
I
rose.
mean, we talked about it in the other one too, when
Yes,
they
we
had those
did.
beautiful things of black
Just the
and white and then the
grayscale.
red.
Yeah, it just looks good. There's a reason it's popular. Like in Marvel, they have they what was it, black, white, and blood. They had one for Elektra, for Wolverine, and then they had a different name for the Captain America one. It's just like it's a cool art style. But anyway, moving forward, we get to more weird toxin things. Look at
Yeah,
Batman
because we're
looking
still
just
in David
like a full snack there,
the
nice and
thickness.
hairy. He's got the V for days. I liked this though. The trippy. I put a trippy church maze wedding ceremony. That's all the things that were going on in this. How'd you
And
feel
then
about this portion?
so this is when like because we're still in like technically in the part one, we're still in
Right.
we're
Yeah,
still
we
in
haven't quite
here.
gotten to the Mad Hatter. I've got a few screenshots from this section too, so we'll have some fun.
See,
More
like that
scarecrow
one.
vibes.
This is one that's probably like one of my favorite pictures, just because of the color. Like if you're going by it by from like a symbolic standpoint, the fact that he is the only non-pink thing
Yeah,
and his feel like I just think
it's
that's a
color
really
pop. Yeah,
beautiful
it's color
shot.
theory, man. It's how you do it. I love it. I got nothing but respect for this stuff. But yeah, this whole scene was so trippy because he's tripping on the fear gas and he's picturing like he's at a funeral, then he's at a wedding getting married to this Jillian girl that he just met like a day ago. Like you're so extra, Bruce. And then look at him being emo boy directly after. I'm like, oh my god, you're killing me.
I do
But
love how 90s Batman always has chest hair. It seems like in the newer Batmans, I don't know, I would have to scroll through all of the Batman that I read, but he seems like there was a time where they were just like, no, Batman doesn't have hair anymore. Like they just decided to make him like
I
super
think
just
I think it was the movies where they're like, okay, Christian Bale, he got super jacked, and like, let's shave him down. He's got to have no body hair. I don't get it either because back in the '90s, having a hairy chest was like the manliest thing you could do. That's
yeah,
what Henry Cavill when they tried to shave his actual chest, he showed like comics from '80s and '90s where Superman was super hairy, and they're like, I guess you win. But at the same
sure.
time, at that point, he should have grown a mullet too. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, I think he should have grown a mullet only for when he was wearing the black suit. That's the only time he should have had a mullet.
Yeah. Batman needs a vacation with his new girl Jillian. I put that because he's working hard, but then I immediately turned on her and I didn't like her anymore. So there was the mouse on the clock. That was a scene that was in here. I don't have a screenshot of it, but it was very Adam West when he's sitting on the clock tower and saving people. It's like this is so weird.
I the thing that I really enjoyed with this is the amount of actual fear Scarecrow is inducing.
Yeah.
Because usually whenever we get Batman, he goes through like maybe 5 minutes of fear toxin. Like it's a bit, it's draining him pretty gnarly in this. Because you get the maze that's pretty much almost kills him. The only way he gets out is with the help of the car, and he gets back to the thing, and then we get Sad Boy. But
Yep.
he's just I enjoyed the almost death. I know that he wasn't gonna die, and this is technically placed because they mention Two Face, and
Yeah.
Two Face doesn't appear until
I liked the shout out.
yeah. But then you have to like if you try and pay attention to the timeline because the timeline for all of these are super timey wimey. Then because Scarecrow, Two Face wasn't introduced until the end of Long Halloween.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess I didn't really do the timey wimey thing, but you make a good point. I don't know, man. It's sure. Continuity in the '90s. Who knew? They're like, yeah, no one cares. That's not a thing.
I care. Me.
Yep. Other notes I put: Alfred's a badass, calling out Jillian for murdering all of her ex-husbands. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, she's crazy. I don't like that one.
or a girl boss. Come on, Josh. Come on,
Yeah, I mean,
girl boss.
yeah, yeah, murdering your significant other,
Pussy queen,
never a
girl
good
boss.
thing. Man, what did I just watch? I watched The Night of on HBO Max, where it was there's one of the suspects for the murder. He went around just marrying old ladies because he was a physical trainer, and he's just like, all right, I'm gonna marry this one. Then she died. He goes to marry a next old broad that's single and has a bunch of money. Like, hey man, that's a lifestyle.
Yeah, and and with that you have to like stay up on your stuff because at that point you are a trophy.
Yep, you the
Like
trophy husband.
you got to keep you the trophy. You got to keep that.
Keep it tight.
You got to keep tight. Full time job.
Yep. That's kind of toward the end of the Scarecrow story because obviously Alfred calls out Jillian, Batman, sad boy, breaks it off with her. She was also a spy of some kind. I was like, they added a lot of layers to this character that I wasn't sure it was completely necessary, but
That we
why not?
never see again. I so with Scarecrow, one of my favorite things, and it's something really small, is the weird pumpkin looking bat signal. Like it's the same one that we saw with the picture, but he does like the big one in the sky, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
orange
yeah.
for some reason.
That's
And I was just
classic.
like,
Yep. I didn't
I was
screenshot
like,
it, but yeah, I agree. That's the stuff. It's like what did you just have like a giant lens to go over a spotlight to turn something orange? Like what happened here?
yeah, yeah, like that. Always want to find or have like an artist create those moments when a villain is doing something super tedious that like leads up to something big, like Scarecrow painting on top of
Yep.
the bat signal. Like he had to bring paint up. He had to sit there like,
On top
oh,
of a
okay.
police department too.
On
It's like
top-
true
Probably
that.
had to look up a couple of times and do it. All right, to the left a little bit.
Mm. That's funny. Uh, yep. Well, Scarecrow's story was fun. I'm glad he got to be the main character of the Long Halloween. I respect Jervis Tech as a character, but I don't know if he's a leading man. He's definitely a side mission boy, is how it feels most of the time. He's just kind of like one note where he's like, yeah, I perverse Alice in Wonderland and drug kids. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty gross, but that's kind of all you do.
With this one, it's kids. Like it's a group of kids. But usually he just has a fascination with one chick. It's always just some chick that he
Yeah, he
decides
just
is
wants to
Alice.
make her the Alice. Yeah, that's why the when it was I thought Batgirl or Batwoman was so interesting. Like they did an Alice character that had absolutely no relation to Mad Hatter whatsoever. They kind of just I guess gender bent Mad Hatter a little bit, and then they're like, all right, let's make her Alice instead of the Mad Hatter, and it worked really well for that show. I mean, R.I.P. to that CW and most of everything they've done.
I was gonna say, yeah, R.I.P. to
The
just
Arrowverse.
DC.
Honestly, dude. Oh man, we're gonna go out. We're gonna see Black Adam next week, though. That's gonna be cool. Or
Yeah, we're
this week.
gonna see
This week.
Black Adam. I'm super excited. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy, but also like I don't know if Warner Brothers is gonna make it. Like they're getting rid of Cartoon Network
Yep, they're
now.
doing a lot of questionable decisions. They hired a guy who was supposed to cut the budget a bunch, and he cut all the wrong things, in my opinion, including Brendan Fraser as a Batman villain. And now we don't get to see that, and that's a travesty.
Ever.
I know we're never allowed to see it. It's ridiculous. Anyway, we move on to the next part of this one shot series, and this one is the Mad Hatter, as we said. The first
Madness,
quote
yeah.
that I really liked from Batman was trying to rationalize with an irrational man. One could ask which of us is crazy. I'm like, that's solid writing. It makes a lot of sense. And that is how I look at every political argument I've ever had.
the this Tetch in this Batman was made me go, we could like theoretically in the
Pattinson.
Pattinson Batman, this is the Tetch that we would be able to see.
Yep.
This is the realm in which the Mad Hatter would make sense. It's either really dark and he's like a child trafficker almost, or
Yep.
you have to put him in.
He's also got that whole
Fuck.
mind control thing. That's a way they do it a lot too. Is like, hell, he designs hats that mind control. I'm like, You're making him a little bit more interesting, I guess, but at the same time, I mean, he's a
It
C-list
gets a
rogue,
bit more cartoony.
right?
Once you do the helmet stuff, it becomes a little bit more cartoony when you have him just be delusioned himself.
Right.
Then that's when you get the cool, dark, twisted type fantasy, which is cool. I mean, both work, but I lean towards the dark, twisted Mad Hatter.
I
And
like the
certain characters I do like
unhinged.
cartoony.
Yeah, unhinged is a fun way to look at it because Batman says he feels uneasy with him more than any of the other rogues, which I thought was crazy. I'm like, really over the Joker? But he even specifically says like more than Joker. I'm like, all right, I guess he's really that crazy. So if they do end up bringing this into Matt Reeves' universe like situation, I would be pretty excited about that because unpredictable. I mean, serial killers are kind of the vibe right now on all streaming services. So you get
Yeah,
a serial killer, child trafficking, Mad Hatter, like some good, interesting Batman villain content.
I would say that the reason that I could see why Batman would consider him more uneasy than the Joker is he is able to have conversation with the Joker. It's a back
Right.
and forth. It's a chess game. He is not talking to Tetch. He is
Nope.
talking to this illusioned character that this man does not break out of. He believes he is a fictional character in this world based off of a book. Joker understands he is a serial killer madman. He knows he is that he's
Right.
created that persona and that is him. Tetch isn't even himself. He is something that was written by another man years ago.
Also, very, very controversial figure in a lot of the child stuff with that the author of that series, or yeah, the couple books
Yeah,
there.
C.L. Lewis, not C.L. Lewis.
C.S. Lewis? C.S. Lewis? No, no, Carol? I don't know. It's one of those guys. I
Yeah.
had it in the front of my mind and I immediately lost it. It doesn't matter. But yeah, there's another picture there, and then here's Batman fighting the Mad Hatter. Some more
Which
exciting.
credit to the Mad Hatter going toe to like I always find it funny and intriguing when the people you don't expect to be able to like go
Right.
when people are like, "Oh, Batman can beat anybody."
Well,
Like he's going toe to toe with a dude named the Mad Hatter. I'm
that's
sorry, but
why everyone rooted for Rey Mysterio being the world heavyweight champion. It's the same vibe. Remember when they used to put him in matches with like the Great Khalid? It's like, yeah, that's believable.
yeah, if you kick someone's shins enough, they
They're
will
good. They're
fall
gonna
down.
fall. Yep, that's how it works. That's physics. Oh man, shout out to the WWE. Hope all three of you guys that like that as well enjoyed that joke.
Yes. But yeah, I find it like I always find it weird that like every person that Batman goes toe to toe in terms of his like rogues gallery, some reason can fight or best him in one way or the other. Like
Right.
we consider Batman the greatest fighter or one of the greatest fighters in the DC universe, but I think
Yeah,
that's also
one
his
of his
downfall
villains.
is that he's so cocky or he is believed to be and he gets the best of himself by underestimating even some of his weaker opponents.
Yeah, the
And
ones
we
that I
see that.
really buy into are Bane and Deathstroke. Those are the two that I was like, that makes sense that they go toe to toe to him with him all the time. A lot of the other ones, it's a little bit harder to really get behind, like him fighting Jervis Tetch. I was like, I don't know about this, but I threw up I threw up another image on the screen, and it's Batman getting cut with a knife. I like the artwork. It's kind of silly, Batman exclaiming in pain, but I love the eyes and the
Twisted face.
reflection of the knife. I was like, this is pretty cool. More 90s artwork, but I gotta give it some props. Like this was almost like a crucifix. I don't know what they were going for here, but I was like, dude, 90s, let's go. And
I'm
now,
sorry, but Batman looks like he is on the centerfold of Playboy right now.
yeah, he does. And if you didn't notice, they did the reverse rain in this section as opposed to having black rain. Now they have blue rain on a black background. I'm like, hey man, whatever trick you have to use, I guess.
Blue rain, blue rain. And we get some like not I wouldn't say foreshadowing, but the fact that Barbara is kidnapped by a madman. I'm like, oh man, there's
Interesting
just
thing to bring up. They must have retconned this because in this story, it seemed that Barbara was Jim's stepdaughter, and that is not canon anymore. I thought that was really weird because
Yeah.
I genuinely had no idea that she was ever not his biological daughter. So I found that part of the story to be pretty jarring because it just kind of shook my understanding of Batman a little bit.
Yeah,
Uh,
that is a weird, and I don't understand why. Like, what does her being his stepdaughter?
there was no reason. You can just have a fractured relationship with your actual daughter. She doesn't have to be a stepdaughter to add another layer. It's like none of us were ever under the impression that you weren't gonna go get her. You know, we get we get it. Uh, I found it interesting that there's another like hallucination element to this story, which was kind of weird. It's from blood loss in this scenario, but Batman starts to picture things. I liked this artwork a lot. It's where Batman goes to Crime Alley. He's starting to pass out, and then his mother, or what he imagines is his mother, comes to save him. What did you feel about this whole scenario here? And
That's
you
a
can
dope
you can do the
background.
reveal.
That's a dope background for like a phone.
Yeah, let me go pull out my Motorola Razor and put that on there.
Yeah, I'm not. That's like a either that or like a really sweet, like not comic book, but really sweet like album cover.
All right, you
Like,
sold it to me. I'm gonna go get it tattooed tomorrow. No.
yeah, let's go. Yeah, I'm sorry, you can't tell me that like an
It looks
album
cool.
named Crime Alley
Yeah,
that would be.
hit up one
The
of
shit
your
was
nerdcore guys. I'm sure they'll do it. Daddy
hell
Fat
yeah.
Snaps, get on this crime alley.
Oh, you know what? I'm fucking tweeting him later on
I'm
today.
gonna
I
tweet
got
him right
this.
now. Let's go.
Let's
Anyway, yeah,
go.
you left off the reveal. It's actually Leslie Tompkins that comes to his
Oh,
aid, which he had not met previously. So I don't know if this is the first appearance of the character or if they retconned her into the storyline. I don't know what happened, but he does not know her yet, and that was kind of an interesting thing. And she wasn't trusted with his identity immediately, and I thought that was kind
no,
of part of it.
I'm trying to think with this one. Because I'm trying to take into account like the timelines. Because remember, it's so timey wimey. In this one,
Right.
um, they involve Batman's like, well, not well, Fear and Ghost do. So I think this one is actually the earliest. This might be the actual
Oh, like publishing
pre.
order.
Well, in terms of like the actual like
Oh,
timeline
the
timeline.
timeline of these one shots. This one takes place. Okay, I understand what you're saying now. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're probably right. I don't know if it specifically states that because they are one shots, but at the same time, I can see where you're coming from there. Yeah, obviously Jim and Barbara get into an argument about her going out on Halloween, which she's like 8 or 10 and it's Gotham City. So I can kind of respect Jim for being like, hey, I'm a cop here and I know you're going to get murdered if you go out.
Which also kind of shitty cop there, Jim.
Yeah,
Hey,
for
you're 8 or 9. Don't go trick or treating because you'll end up dead.
for real. There's another
You
cool
better.
artwork, one of these in between ones, just the part 2 of this section. I was like, that's a pretty cool looking bat. But I wanted to get to this next slide, which was the Mad Hatter with Barbara, which was kind of wild. And it's not, it's a weird art style. Like, what is
It is
this?
really weird. It makes Barbara look like a dude dressed up as a woman.
A little bit,
Like her
yeah.
hair seems so weird. Her hair seems so fake that it
Like a
seems
wig, yeah.
like a wig. To the point where I was like, no, we know Barbara has red hair, so why would you put her in this fake
Something
ass
tells me
looking
Tim
wig?
Sale Tim Sale just didn't know how to draw kids very accurately back then. Because obviously
Yeah.
he's pretty good at drawing adults with the different shadows and stuff. But yeah, this is just a weird looking kid, that's for sure. Next panel, we of course go into a fun house full of mirrors, because why wouldn't you? Kind of. And then like, yeah, he goes to cut a corner. I loved this. This really explores Mad Hatter's madness because he yells at his own reflection to get out of the way. which is very funny.
It's really small things like that that I really enjoy. And then like shortly after that, we get some more beautiful some more art style that you really enjoy with the black and white and then that little bits of color. They do it with the kids, like the ones who are like
Yeah,
it's
I don't think I have that screenshot, but yes, I know what you're talking about.
yeah,
Yep.
see those ones I really enjoyed, and then he goes into there's like a picture where Batman's in almost all white. It's like the light shining on him, and it
Hmm.
makes his suit all white. And I thought that was just a really cool picture. I loved it. This one again, I enjoyed it for the look. I enjoyed Tetch. I enjoyed
Yeah, the
the
way it ends is
story.
Jim interferes, ends up saving Barbara. Yippee ki everyone wins. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, I was gonna say it ends in great Batman fashion, but it's these didn't have a lot of weight, and I know one shots aren't always necessarily supposed to be super gravitas,
Right,
but
but
each one
sometimes they
just
are.
when yeah, and these ones I don't feel that with any of them. None of them at the end of me reading it, I was like,
Wow.
"Ooh." I
Yep,
was
I'm
just
with
like,
you.
"Okay."
I chose to do it this way because I figured everybody and their mother has done a review on the Long Halloween, and not a lot of people know that it came out of one shot. So there you go. Now you guys know a little bit more. Just deep cut nerds. There's only gonna be 3 people that enjoy this, and it's gonna be great. But
And two
moving
of
on,
them are making it.
that's true. Big facts right there. Moving on,
Big
we go to
facts
the last
100.
part here. We get the 3 ghosts of Halloween, past, present, and future. Yeah, you and I were both off put by this a little bit. It just didn't seem like the type of thing you could do as a story. Like, how many people really have significant things happen on Halloween? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the weird thing is, Batman seems to have more shit happen on Christmas than on Halloween.
Yep.
So at that point, I'm like, you should have just made that a Christmas thing. It could have still been in the world of the Long Halloween,
True.
but he constantly has stuff happening on Christmas. He constantly is having in Arkham Origins. It all takes place on Christmas Eve. Like
Yep. Well, Arkham Knight takes place on Halloween, so or right before Halloween. I guess the
yeah,
day of.
so that's I think my biggest issue is to take a Christmas themed thing and shove it in Halloween
Yep.
when the whole point of a long Halloween is going through different holidays.
Yeah. But
And yes, this is kind of the
the way they kick this one off, just look at this ugly bitch. It's fucking disfigured penguin with a unibrow that goes all the way up to his hairline, and he's got tiny teeth, and the explanation's like, oh, he's disformed or disfigured. I'm like, nah, bro. No human has ever looked like this, even remotely.
I think you're just mad that he pulls bitches. That's what you're telling me, Josh.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
you're telling me you can look at that man and tell me that he does not get it. Look at him. Look at him and tell me
I'm gonna
that.
go on a limb and say no. No, he doesn't. He doesn't get much. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is like a whole vibe, and I don't know. I guess I
Yeah,
can't speak to it.
yeah.
But yeah,
Haters gonna
there was a
hate.
weird like intro scene with Batman taking on the Penguin and saving some necklace for Lucius. It just felt like they had to bring the ghost stories into context, I guess. So they used Penguin to do so, and he's flying with the jetpack, and Batman makes the save, and here it is, Halloween
This,
candy.
this could be me being like the person who loves coming up with like different storylines. I would have been more intrigued if this all took place with the Penguin as the center focus.
Yeah, you didn't have to do the 3 Halloweens thing. It. I understand that they wanted to bank on the success of A Christmas Carol, but I don't think this was the way to do it.
No, I mean they could have still done a Christmas Carol, but instead of it focusing on Batman,
Oh, have him
it
be the
focused
central. Yeah,
have
I
him
could
be the
see that.
Scrooge
I
because
like it.
he already
That
has Scrooge
He does have
energy.
mad Scrooge vibes. That's for sure. Scrooge vibes. I like it. Yeah,
He
that's a
also
good
looks
point.
like a duck.
He does. Oh my god! Back in the '66 Batman, the guy used to make the wong noise like a duck, and that's not how penguins sound. You know the story behind that? I found it out listening to Kevin Smith podcast. The guy was actually a smoker, and he had quit smoking. So the only way he could exhale the cigarette smoke without actually inhaling it is he just made that weird noise, and that's how he got around it, which is kind of an interesting little backstory there.
Such a weird backstory.
Dude, this is the stuff. This is the stuff that I shouldn't know a lot of this. Shout out to Ralph Garman though. That was on Hollywood Babylon. They did a whole Batman 66 thing. Anyway, moving forward, we get mad, creepy looking Thomas Wayne, who looks like just anorexic as heck, tied with a bunch of I don't know. They went all out on trying to make him look wild. But I was into it.
Not my Thomas. My Thomas
Yeah.
holds two Berettas.
True.
But no, that's one thing that I did enjoy. Is like as much as I didn't like this, the artwork for this one
Fun.
solid. Yeah.
Yep. I took a lot of
Solid.
screenshots for this one just because, yeah, like the it's 90s artwork unmistakably, but it's like fun. The guy like really went for it. And then he's like, let's do these giant set pieces. I love the paneling and the layout for a lot of these. It's just really cool stuff. But yeah, Thomas is the one that introduces the idea of going over the past Halloweens. And our 3 ghosts of Halloween are Poison Ivy to start with, from the past. Here's a panel showing her. The leaves look a little weird. They're just kind of like wild shapes, but it's all good. Out of the 3 tales told by the ghosts, this is the only one that really made that much sense to me. Because the first one, it does the old school, gives the story behind Lucius's necklace, and then it also shows him being disappointed because his father didn't make it to go trick-or-treating, and he's dressed as Zorro. Cool. You know what that just reminded me of, Noah? I forgot to mention that Bruce does have like a weird memory of Alice in Wonderland. His mom reading it to him the night before they go to
They have to like the book.
Yeah. Yep. Sorry, that was in the last part. I didn't even put a note, but I didn't mention it. Anyway. Yep. Bruce has been mad because Thomas couldn't make it, and we jump forward past Poison Ivy to the Joker. I liked the Joker's intro. He's just like, I'm going to tie Alfred upside down and put an apple in his mouth. I'm like, yep, that's mad Joker vibes right there. He was only in it for like 3 pages, though. That was disappointing.
But, I mean, I also understand why. Because sometimes you have to show Joker to get people's attention and just be like, he's done.
Yeah, like it's fine. But he essentially goes over the Halloween present and essentially just showing that they're talking about Bruce being like a creepy old man, like recluse. Like, I mean, I guess that's fine, but it was only a scene long. But then we go to the Ghost of Christmas Future. Oh, excuse me, Halloween Future. Stupid. I kind of like the artwork of his pajamas here, where it's like negative space where it blends in with the cloak. So he just kind of like drew legs with polka dots. I'm like, that's kind of neat. And Bruce looking ripped.
I was gonna say, like, he looks so different in this one than in the other 2 in terms of even just body shape. Like he out here looking like he rips watermelons with his bare hands in this one. And the other ones, he just kind of like, he was still muscular, but he seemed longer.
Yeah, right there. I pulled it up on the screen. Yeah, he looks a lot longer and less jacked, I guess. Yeah. Man, he's such a good cartoon looking Batman. I dig it. But yeah, the Ghost of Halloween, the Ghost of Halloween Future is, of course, him going to his own burial, and only Alfred's there, which they've done 1,000,005 times. That exact scenario
shows which proves that this one takes place before Dark Victory, because there's no mention of Dick at all.
True, that is true. Yep, there's the reveal though. I did like this art. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat looking, I guess. Put a Batman mask on a skull. Why not? And Batman wakes up nightmarish. What other notes did I have here?
He looks really funny, and it's not the next. It's like the next two panels when he wakes up. He looks so frazzled, and I just think he looks like the goombiest person. Like he looks like I could slap him. Like he just looks so sad.
Oh, good. Well, Bruce wakes up from his weird nightmare thing, and he decides to hand out candy. And Alfred and him talk about how expensive it is to light up his driveway, like he's not a million bajillionaire. And that's kind of the end of the story. That's the way they ended it. I mean, it is interesting that the third one was the worst story, but the best art out of the three, I would say.
Yeah. So how would you rank them? How would you rank them in terms of stories?
Best probably honestly in the order first, second, third, probably in order of like which ones I was actually interested in. The Mad Hatter one, there was parts of it that I liked, but the overall plot, it was like, yeah, I kind of like the first one a little more. What about you?
2-1-3.
2-1-3. Yeah.
I liked Jarvis a little bit more than I liked Scarecrow. The Scarecrow was
Jonathan
fine and
McCree.
fun. I just wanted it to be a little bit darker.
Look how tall that stupid Scarecrow head is in this image. It's 4 feet high.
Look how
Joker's teeth
Joker's
are
mouth.
driving me nuts, dude. Even in the little spot that he was in, I even looked at his teeth. Is like his bottom teeth make no sense. Why would you do that? But whatever. It's his art style.
And then they got Tetch looking like a frog.
He does look like a frog there. Well, that's the end of that. So happy Halloween to our listeners, Noah. We'll probably drop this either on Halloween. Yeah, let's go with that. We'll drop it on Halloween. You guys have fun trick-or-treating tonight. Hope you have a great time. It's a fun holiday. Don't forget to watch Nightmare Before Christmas, but only the first, 25 minutes, and then you have to leave that VHS tape on pause until Christmas. Then you watch the rest of it. It's the only way.
Is that how that works?
Yep. You're not allowed to do it on Disney Plus. You have to break out your VHS player. You got to watch 20 minutes till he gets to the trees, and then you finish out the story on Christmas. It's the only way to do it.
Or you can be a normal human being and watch Halloween Town like a real.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Well, that was fun. Noah, would you have anything to say in closing for the wonderful people at home?
Yes. If you are dressing up as any kind of superhero for the holidays, please send us a picture. And then the person who we deem to be the best, we'll give a shout out.
I like that.
Right after.
That's a good call. Yeah, and if it's, I'll even share it on our Marvel stuff page. We got a little bit more exposure over there. Why not? If you guys want to shoot us some cool cosplay or your Halloween costumes, tag Gotham City Rogues podcast or myself or Noah, and we'll check it out.
Yeah, we'll make sure that Coach doesn't roast you too hard because he.
Oh my God, Coach roasts everyone except he looks like Coach, so you can't really. You take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, it's just Coach.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Have a good one. Love you.